Welcome back. You guessed it. This is Dime to Diamonds with Suzanne Porsky of Phoenix Financial Group. My name is Jessica. Glad you're here with us. The phone number, 918-890-8311. 918-890-8311. Lots of great resources on that website, too, if that works out easier for you. dimetodiamondsradio.com. I thought this was interesting, Suzanne. An article that I found at moneywise.com said that if you're worried about not having $1 million before retirement, it's okay because you still might get there after you retire. It points out a new survey by Northwestern Mutual that states a lot of retirees are spending only 2% of their savings each year. Only 2%. Come on, guys, get out there, enjoy it. Well, at that withdrawal rate, assuming the market cooperates, your money could actually double. What do you think about all this?
Well, there's actually a mathematical equation used in our industry, and it's called the rule of 72. So you take the number 72 and you divide it by your annual rate of return. The result will give you how many years it's going to take for your money to double. So like if you're getting a 6% rate of return, you take 72, divide it by 6, every 12 years it's going to double, 9%. So with our market that's been going up the last couple of years, I can see that. Their spending is cutting down. The market was going up. It's nothing that you should be counting on. I don't want people to go, oh, okay, well, the flip side of all that is you can take 72 divided by 10. If you want your money to double every 10 years, 7.2% is your target. And so that's where I come in and start talking to my clients. And it's so if you made 20,000 in a year, it's telling you whatever you have is going to double. That dollar amount is going to double if you divide it by 72, if that makes sense. So that's why I believe some people are actually seeing their nest eggs grow after saving less. It's just the vehicles that they have been putting them into. A lot of, Social Security does a lot of heavy lifting for a lot of my clients. One of the key reasons is that they don't tap their savings as much because Social Security is providing that steady income stream, or maybe there's still, believe it or not, pensions that are out there. Basic expenses partially covered with that Social Security. So retirees are simply, they just don't need to draw down their nest egg as aggressively. Market growth can outpace withdrawals under the right conditions as well. So when withdrawals are modest and markets are cooperating, investment returns can exceed what retirees are taking out. And that's how someone starting retirement with $600,000 could potentially end up with significantly more later. The logic works, but it's just not guaranteed. This outcome depends on variables like market performance, health, spending disciplines. So while the math can work in theory, it's not a one-size-fits-all retirement plan. And that's why it's so important to have a working relationship with your financial advisor that is holistic. When we're accumulating and when we're working, our target goal is to get that nest egg built as quick and as solid as possible and as large as possible. When you get into retirement and you're getting near it 5, 7, 8 years out, you really need to find a holistic firm that is going to wrap their arms around you and talk to you about what your taxes are going to look like, Social Security, how your pensions are. That's a big thing that's going on right now. American Airlines, Cigna, even my husband's local electrical union, all those pensions now, they're wanting to dissolve them. So they're giving them lump sums. They're saying, hey, we're not going to be sending you this paycheck for the rest of your life and your spouse's life. We want to just cash you out. People aren't prepared for that. But if you've got a financial advisor and a firm that is holistic, we can take that and go, okay, you're getting this $150,000 check. How do we turn that into a paycheck for you and make sure that it is prepared for anything that life might throw you?
Yeah, 100%. And you talked about turning that into a paycheck. And that made me think here because, the one thing that stops when you leave that working world is the paycheck, right? The bills still come. You still got to provide for your family. You're going to have emergency things. The car needs brakes. You need a new roof. Those are all things that are going to continue. The thing that stops is your paycheck that you get every 2 weeks. And then you talked about replacing that essentially. So what are some other ways we can replace that paycheck in retirement and give us that guaranteed income?
Well, I'm going to say a word that's, it's people out there have such a stigmatism with it, but it shouldn't be. They're annuities, and there's some really great ones. There's some good ones, and then there's some that just aren't that well. It's just like a vehicle that you drive. There are some great vehicles, and then there's some that just aren't as good and don't last in certain circumstances. And that's the case with annuities. Every single one of them has a purpose depending on what your time horizon look like and what your needs are. And that's where you could take money, put it into an annuity and turn on that paycheck. But it doesn't necessarily, if you're working in a holistic firm, it might be that you don't need to pay for that extra fee. It's called a rider fee to turn the paycheck on. Your advisor is doing that for you. So we'll take money, say 10% a year off of an annuity, stick it in some sort of a money market account that we can create that monthly paycheck out of that, and they're not having to pay that extra fee for it. But on the other hand, there might be dollars that we want to start putting into some sort of an investment vehicle that is growing exponentially, that we do have an option to turn on income that has what we call a doubler on it. So if we pull off income off of it, for instance, my husband, $3,000 a month, if they can't do 2 out of the 6 ADLs, activities of daily living, they will double that. So now we've got the long-term care, we've got that rider on there. And so for him, I was able to, for his rehab, turn that on. It comes in a lump sum. Now I can cash pay to have his physical therapist come. I was able to pull him out of a facility, his rehab, 2 weeks early and have them come to the house because I wasn't trying to have qualifications on a long-term care policy. And even though we had that all set up for when we were much older, much older comes really quick sometimes. You don't know, in a blink of an eye at 63, you're learning how to, walk again and go through that. And so that's where it's just important to have somebody in your corner that knows all these different aspects to make it work best for you.
Absolutely. What works best for you, and you also assigning purpose to that money. And what works best for you doesn't mean it's going to work best for your friend, your neighbor, your brother, your sister. It's all about having that custom and individualized plan. And again, this accounts for everything you want to do in retirement. And how much money have you saved? Will you be able to do all those bucket list items? And don't get caught up in, well, I haven't saved $1 million. That's what we're talking about. Don't get caught up in that, quote, magic number. There is no magic number in retirement. Everybody's situation is different. If you'd like to come in for a portfolio review, sit down one-on-one with Suzanne. We'll do that for you today. Complimentary, no cost, no obligation. 918-890-8311. 918-890-8311. That website, dimetodiamondsradio.com.
I want people more than anything to live a life that they love, because you never know what is going to come up. And that's where money is so important, but it really is one of the lowest forms of energy. Of the name of the show, Dime to Diamonds. I've had a dime and came back from that. I definitely can talk to anybody. They don't need to have 300, 400, 500, 600,000. I want to talk to you about you creating a life that you love, and the money comes. And so that's where once we come in and they plan and prepare, I hear people say, I'm so embarrassed. I have dumb questions. I don't have anything. I'm sure you have people with so much more money than me. None of that matters. It truly doesn't. I want to hear your story. I want to hear what you want your life to look like. And then together, let's put a plan together that makes sense and start walking it together. And that's when I've seen people, I've got new clients that just won the lottery. When I met her, that was not in the books. Like, that wasn't written. And she just started following and listening and preparing with what she had. And that's what I tell people. It doesn't matter where you're at now. It's where you want to go. And let's get you there. Let's grab hands together, swallow the pride, put it aside. There's nobody judging you as much as you're judging yourself. Quit using it as procrastination. And let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it today. Pick up that phone, 918-890-8311, 918-890-8311. The website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. Coming up in just a moment, don't you wish you learned more about personal finance in school? You're not alone. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Suzanne and her team at Phoenix Financial Group have a special invitation for you today. For the next 5 radio callers, they'll sit down with you personally and help create a custom retirement plan for you. It's complimentary and there's no obligation. Just call 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. Together with you, Suzanne and her team will look at your investments, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, show you how your life's savings can create a dependable and sustainable income in retirement. Call today for your custom retirement plan, 918-890-8311, and online at dimetodiamondsradio.com.
In retirement, you'll be writing two kinds of checks. The fun ones to pay for things like nice vacations, and the not so fun ones to pay for things like your tax bill. Fortunately, a good strategy can help minimize your tax obligations, leaving more money for your vacation budget. Sound good? Call Suzanne Porsky at Phoenix Financial Group to talk about a tax strategy that might work for you. 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311 or visit dimetodiamondsradio.com.
Welcome back. My name is Jessica, here with Suzanne Porsky of Phoenix Financial Group, and this is Dime to Diamonds. 918-890-8311 is the phone number, 918-890-8311. That website, of course, dimetodiamondsradio.com. Well, if you didn't know it, April is Financial Literacy Month. And it's supposed to raise awareness about the importance of financial education, something people like Ronzina Ray, I guess they completely missed out on this.
I am so glad I learned about parallelograms in high school instead of learning how to do my taxes, because it comes in so much handy during parallelogram season. That's why I owed this year.
Parallelogram season.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. And it's true. That's why they don't teach this. I do not understand. We don't have parallelogram season. I try to tell my clients that taxes, they don't just show up in April. They show up every year in retirement. And when someone gets surprised by a tax bill in retirement, the most common things they didn't realize that were going to be taxed, their Social Security. I don't understand why this isn't talked about, but I have people say, I can't believe it. They weren't taking taxes out of my Social Security. No, and they don't ask you like they do when you go to take your, retirement money out. They ask you how much you want to be held. They don't ask. Also, Rochelle, she hears me say this all the time, tax accountants, CPAs, they're historians. And that's why it's so important to not just think about taxes once a year, but at a minimum every quarter. Someone like me that thinks about them daily because I'm a business owner, but it's not just showing up and saying, here, this is what's happened. And that's where my heart aches for people that just aren't ready in retirement for this whole new tax landscape that they're walking into. And not only that, Jess, as I see is people, as they're getting into retirement, then usually their family, their moms and dads, and they're passing away and transitioning. And these people are now getting lump sums. As much as that, that income or that extra boost of money coming in is a blessing, it's also going to have a huge impact on their taxes because their benefits, like their Medicare, is income based. So if they get a flush of income, and I'm thinking of this client, they sat in our workshops, his mom passed away and her mom passed away just within months of each other. And those estates funded to them. So it had a huge surplus of income come into them, which then throws everything else off, plus their taxes, their tax situation. So that's where it's important to have people in your corner that you can say, especially if you've been filing your taxes by yourself, quit using it like history. Like, this is what we did, and now we're being reactive to our decisions all year long. Let's get proactive. If somebody has just passed away and you're going to get an inheritance, come in and sit down. Let's have you plan and prepare for that. Maybe you need to open up yourself a trust and get a tax ID number that can absorb that dollar amount. You're still totally in control of it all. It's just you're putting a buffer on how that's going to, you're mitigating taxes that could possibly be coming, especially when you're in retirement.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's all about taking control of what your tax future could be, as you talked about here. And I'm with you. I don't know why, kids today and even just college, I don't know why there's not a financial literacy program that you have to go through, because, man, it would help so many people and start the process early, saving for retirement. I mean, Suzanne, you see this every single day. I don't think it's outlandish for me to say that, there's probably people in their early 30s that haven't saved anything because they didn't know they were supposed to.
Right. And they haven't understood the compounding interest and how that snowballs. And I'm going to go back to, I'm super proud of my son-in-law, his parents. His dad made him immediately when he got a big boy job right out of high school into college. He said, you're going to put this dollar amount away in your retirement. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's how it's going to work. And it was a good job with a good company, Oklahoma Natural Gas here. That's the only way his dad would recommend him, is if he agreed to take a portion of his paycheck and put it in there. And he did. And so at a very young age, he had a very nice amount in his retirement when he decided to make a a change in his profession. He had that already established. And that's what I think more parents need to do. But, you know, like you said, if parents don't know, because when has it ever been taught? I still think about my home ec teacher when I'm baking things, how she told me to clear off the top of the tablespoon for baking powder. I wish we had that where someone could go, oh, I remember this teacher teaching me this. That compounding is so important. Even if it's just $25 a month, it adds up.
Well, maybe they'll remember you teaching it right now, and they'll say, Suzanne Porsky of Phoenix Financial Group, guys, she's been telling me about this compound interest, and she's been telling me what I need to do to plan for retirement and stop procrastination and get in there and make it happen. Well, we are giving you that availability right now. There's no excuses. There should be no procrastination. Be proactive. The door's open. We'll get you on the schedule to sit down with Suzanne one-on-one. And that phone number, 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311, dimetodiamondsradio.com. You know, I recently read an article at gobankingrates.com. It's about a guy that spent $30,000 on something that he says secured his retirement. You might be guessing what it is. It is a hybrid long-term care policy. He says that with that risk covered, he can be a little more aggressive with his investments and worry a lot less. What are your thoughts on this? Do you see this happening? Is it a benefit of the whole long-term care conversation?
Oh, Jess, I tell you, it's hard because the long-term care industry is just that, an industry. So if you're going to go to a car lot, you're going to be sold a car. If you go to a mattress store, you're going to be sold a mattress. If you talk to a long-term care agent, you're going to be sold a long-term care policy. And though there is a lot of good ones out there, I've also seen where you have certain qualifications that need to be met in order for that policy to, you know, work for you. A lot of them you have to be institutionalized for a certain amount of time. There's so much regulation on it. There's better ways to take that $30,000 is really what I'm going to come down to. More on what I think that people need and retirees need to know about these hybrid long-term care policies is that it does maybe cover those major unknowns, but there's so much when you're going through recovery that you cannot even navigate until you're there. I'm going to go back to the story of my husband. You know, it was a solid 2 weeks of him being gone. About 10 days into it, I thought, you know what? He needs to come home. His recovery is going to do best at home, where those long-term care policies don't allow for those kind of tweaks, you know, the emotional, the mental part of it. For him, he was going to do so much better being in his own home, in his own bed. And those long-term care policies require you to either have a licensed nurse come in or you be in an institution. And so that's where the confidence that it's creating financially isn't necessarily means tested when it comes down to reality. It's nice. I know people don't want to be a burden to their family. It's not taking that away. It's saying, hey, let's put you in the driver's seat. Let's take those dollars. Let's put them in an investment where if you can't do 2 out of 6 of your adult daily activities, it flips the switch where you're going to get double that income. So you're able to take that money, that $36,000 or $50,000. It's in your checking account. You're able, or your family, to write the check to pay for the help to come in. My husband did not need a licensed nurse to come take care of him. He just needed to be in his own environment where we could talk and walk through, daily activities. When his therapist came is when they would specialize on certain activities to help him, regain strength on the left side. The same things that they were doing inside of the institution. And that's where I really cringe when I hear people say, I'm just going to buy this long-term care policy and it's going to take care of everything. Yeah, if you're talking that just the dollar part of it, sure, but you've got to take other things into consideration as well. So if this is something that you're thinking about or you want more clarity on, or you just want a sounding board, give me a call. Come on in, stop in. Let's have this conversation. Or if you want, give me a call and set up a phone appointment or a Zoom. We can do it that way as well. I want to talk to you personally. There are some people that have absolutely no problem going into a facility to, rehab somewhere to get better if something's happened. That's what those long-term care policies are for. But the majority of people really excel healing when they're at home. And if that sounds like something that is more like you, let's talk. There's multiple options out there for you to decide on in how you want your care or your loved one's care. And We just need to talk about it. Let me educate you so you can feel empowered when you make that final decision on what you want to do with those dollars.
And that phone number, again, 918-890-8311, 918-890-8311. Call right now. We'll set you up with a meeting one-on-one with Suzanne over the phone, Zoom, in person, whichever works best for you. Again, no cost, no obligation, 918-890-8311. That website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. And, because Suzanne, I know one of your main focus is, of course, working with women seeking out financial advisors that are women. They understand how we think, how we feel, how we make decisions. So I thought we have to play the queen, of course, here on the show. I'm talking about Oprah. And, when you think about billionaires, you might assume they hand everything over to accountants and they never look back, right? It is what it is. Well, Oprah says not her.
My thing is sign every check. I still do. And also show up for all the financial meetings, whether you know what they're talking about or not. Yeah. I still see all the invoices. It makes me ill. Have found mistakes. But I think if you don't, then you're just sort of floating and you don't have any idea of how things operate, how things really run, what things really cost, what it costs to be you. Because there's a price to be you. And nobody else knows what that is. And the person who really should know is the person who's in charge.
I love that. The cost to be you. So when someone comes in to see you, Suzanne, do they usually know their true cost to be them? And over a 20, 30-year retirement, that's a big deal. Is this something that you help them figure out?
Oh my gosh, yes. This is the best part of what I do, is to just have these conversations with them and say, what does your life look like? And what do you want it to look like? Now, not just what it looked like while you were working and trying to figure out what to do on those couple weeks vacation. What do you want your life to look like? And then let's start planning it. We need to figure out what the cost is to be them. Do they want to travel? Maybe we should turn that into a blog. Maybe they can travel with their friends and we can do that with them. Or I have a lady who loves every form of tomato plant known to man. Let's turn that into something. I said, well, we have food banks. Let's see if we can't, do something with that hobby. The cost of it initially is the jars and jarring it. But to her, it made her feel whole and complete. And then she started going to different shows and like craft fairs and stuff like that and traveling, and kind of got a little group of women together and they started doing that. But that was all discovered by us having a conversation where she feels safe to say, hey, this sounds silly, but I really like to do this. I have another lady. How about this? She makes grave blankets. She loves to make grave blankets. And right now she's wanting to retire and she's at a law office that she's been out for decades. And she said that kind of squeaked out. She kind of whispered across the table. I'm like, there's nobody else in here. And she said, I like to make grave blankets. It's a blanket of flowers that go over the grave for Memorial Day or Mother's Day or a birthday. That's what she does. She does grave blankets, and that makes her feel so good and so whole, and the joy it brings the families. And I said, let's make that into a business. Why not? Let's just start talking. And so we've had a couple of those where she's come in, blocked off an hour, and we've had conversations and kind of went down those rabbit holes of where's the best place to get the flowers and how do we market? And she's like, never in a million years would I have thought I could have done this. I could have turned this hobby that I enjoy doing and giving to people into something that's making money, and I'm able to enjoy my retirement. But like I said, there was a cost to be her for a little bit as we kind of made that transition and figured out the best places to buy the materials for this hobby, now business that, she's doing. And so that's where I think people, women especially, men are so good at the accumulation and getting us to that point of retirement. I hear women say, I stopped going to the meetings because it didn't make sense. You have to be around the language, women. You have to be around these, and eventually it will start clicking. And in my office, there is never, ever a dumb question, ever. Your language and what you're doing is foreign to me. I go to a dentist office and I have no idea what they're talking about. I tell myself I can't feel dumb because this just isn't my expertise. This isn't my bus seat, is what I say. I want to, and I told this to a client yesterday, my last one of the day, I said, I don't want you to do anything until you feel comfortable. And so we will continue to have these same conversations until it lands. I will use everything I have in me to explain it in a way that is going to make sense. There is no urgency. I'm not going to make you feel bad or stupid. because there isn't, and that's what kind of Oprah is saying. As much as she could pay somebody to take care of everything, women are different. We want to be educated. We want to know how things are put together. We don't necessarily want the responsibility of, maybe managing that portfolio and figuring out the stocks or ETFs and stuff like that. But we want to know what an ETF is. We want to know the definition of a mutual fund. We want to be heard and say, okay, is this good for me? I heard this on the radio and my plan, Suzanne. Do you think this would work in it? And we can talk about it. And I can tell them from my perspective, yes, I think this is why, but I can see where maybe it might not. So let's discover it together. Where I think that in our industry that has been missed, absolutely missed for decades. It's just been accumulation, and this is how it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Turn the page there to a new side. And when it comes to planning for your retirement, especially if you are out there, you're a woman seeking a woman to help you with their financial plan, give a call to Suzanne Porsky of Phoenix Financial Group today. Again, no cost, no obligation. 918-890-8311. 918-890-8311. That website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. That is going to do it for us. We appreciate you joining us. Of course, we love to hear from you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you guys have learned, if nothing else, that there is a firm out here that is holistic, that is here waiting to help you and answer any of the questions you have. I love to help translate what your questions are into reasonable answers and turn your lifestyle into something that is realistic with some long-term numbers where you have that knowledge and confidence from that knowledge to rest in and enjoy your retirement. This is what we've all worked so hard for, is retirement. And I want to make sure that we're proactive in helping you. So if any of this resonated today, you're local, you want to stop by, please come see us or give us a call. Looking forward to meeting you soon.
Phoenix Financial Group has a strategic partnership with Rochelle Harp at Harp Accounting, who can provide tax advice. The strategic partner herein is not employed by Phoenix Financial Group. Neither Phoenix Financial Group nor IPW are affiliated with Harp Accounting. Any and all other services offered by the Harp Accounting are not offered through or supervised by IPW. Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Phoenix Financial Group, LLC. Phoenix Financial Group, LLC is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or Registered Investment Advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Phoenix Financial Group, LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Phoenix Financial Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Phoenix Financial Group, LLC. This radio show is a paid placement.